Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you would like to know more about my knitwear designs, please check in the description below, and there you will find a link to my Ravelry designer page where you can browse images of all the patterns I have available, and if you want, you can get a PDF of the pattern and knit it up yourself. If you do decide to knit one of my patterns, I would absolutely love to hear about it. You can talk with me in the comments below, or also in the description notes you will find a link to my Facebook Watch Barbara Knit group where we can chat and talk and share pictures, and it's a little more private than the YouTube comments, so feel free to hop over there just for any reason, but I really would love to know if you're knitting one of my patterns because that's so exciting. We have Let's Talk today, and what I want to talk about today is knit-alongs. What is a knit-along? Why should you knit along? And then I have a knit-along that's wrapping up, and I'm going to give away the prizes because that's the best part. Well, maybe. I don't know. There's so many good parts about knit-alongs. What is a knit-along? Well, it's you knitting along with other knitters. It's fairly self-explanatory. Now, there are different ways you can do knit-alongs. It can be a situation where everyone is knitting the exact same pattern. Or it could be you're knitting with the same yarn, but different patterns. You could be knitting with the exact same yarn and the exact same pattern. Or there could be a theme where you're all knitting shawls. You could do a shawl-along. Or, oh my goodness, there's just so many possibilities. But the main idea of it is that you are knitting side by side, and most of the time it's virtually because it's online, and there to support and help and cheer on one another to actually complete your project that you're trying to do. And that's a whole lot of fun because sometimes it's hard to stay motivated and to stay focused and to get something done because there's so many pretty kind of things that can be very distracting. So one of the ways that you are motivated in a knit along to get to that end, which the real prize is that you finish your project. But you can also in knit-alongs frequently receive an additional prize just for knitting along or for completing within the time frame that the knit-along is covering. Now, I have done quite a few knit-alongs and I tend to run them in my Ravelry group, but I'm also open to other formats. I think we could do a knit-along in the Facebook, Watch Barbara Knit, and we could even conceivably do a knit along here, but it might be weird jumping from comments to comments, but who knows, maybe we can figure it out. There has been discussion about doing a knit along for Mosaic and Lace, my book, and what would happen there is you could knit anything you want as long as it came out of my book. Other themes are, I know the Malabrigo Junkies group on Ravelry does really cool knit-alongs, and it pretty much is, knit whatever you want as long as it's in Malabrigo yarn. But they even get more granular than that, where it's really fantastic. So they decide on patterns they're going to knit, and they'll have like a different thread for every single pattern. So it's like, or it'll be, we're going to do shawls, and here are 4 different shawls you can choose from, and here are 4 different shirts you can choose from, and they vote on which shirts or whatever they're going to do. But the thing that pulls it all together is a love of Malabrigo yarn. That's why they're knitting it all together. When you're doing a item specific knit along, it can be very useful because people are running up against the same challenges, and maybe you're stuck on a part of your project. Then you can jump on Ravelry and say, hey, has anybody had this problem here? And they can, if someone's gone past that, they can help you out. Maybe they had the same problem. Maybe they can give you input. Another great thing that knit-alongs do is the knit-along that we just finished was a knit-along for this shawl. It's called Earthbound Misfit, but also it has a shawl that was knit in the same yarn same type of yarn. It's the unique sheep yarn, and it's also beaded, and it's a previous shawl of mine called Bitter Blue. So these two shawls have very similar shapes. They're both in the unique sheep yarn, and they both have bead sets from Earth Fair. So I was like, hey, in this knit along, you can knit either of these two shawls. And believe it or not, we actually had someone who finished both of the shawls. So yay, that was totally exciting. And one of the big things we did was helping picking out colors, because you can say, hey, I'm stash diving and look at these colors. Will these work? And we can work through and help together to help pick out yarn. So that is wonderful. I know that in my actual local knitting group, they're having a knit along for the Ravello shirt, and for a lot of them it's like a sweatery shirty thing. For a lot of them it's the very first sweater they've ever made. So having people at different stages of the knit along is very helpful and fun, and you can see where people, and so if you're kind of getting tired of the acres and acres of stockinette that you're working through, and someone shows up and they're trying on and they've gotten a lot further, seeing that progress that they've made can really excite you and get you going for keeping up with your project. And seeing what other people are doing can help you come up with ideas with other projects. That's one of the ones where it's a yarn-based one, where we're all knitting in this one yarn, can be really good, because seeing what other people knit in that same yarn can be very inspiring. If we do a knit along for my book, that is definitely helping choose colors, would definitely be a big part of it, because since they're all color work pieces, you might need some help. Helping substitute yarn. So if someone has already started knitting it, they can help give advice on, if you don't want to use the yarn the pattern calls for, figuring out what yarns you can use. What else can you do? Also, just looking at pretty pictures. That's one of my favorite parts. I love it, seeing the progress with the Earthbound Misfit and Bitter Blue. It was fantastic because they post the tiny little shawls, and the little tiny beginnings of shawls make me so happy. And then watching them grow and watching people progress and watching people hit challenges and overcome them, or sometimes make the very hard decision that, you know what, this just isn't working out and we're going to try something different, which I think when you have the support of other people can be easier to do. Sometimes you get pretty far in a project and you're like, I can't frog this now because I put so much work into it, but you're not going to be happy with it if it's not what you want. So having other people there saying, no, you can do a better, this new idea you have is so much better, and you should definitely do that. With color combinations, we ran into that a little bit with Earthbound Misfit. What else? What else can I talk about? Oh, so specifically how I run knit-alongs is I do something that I call progress milestones. And what we do is so we're going to have this knit along and it's going to run for like 3 months, just for instance. And what I do is every 2 weeks, I have a progress milestone. So if in that 2-week period, you have posted a picture of your progress, and literally your progress can be, I knit 1 row, or I picked out my yarns, or I got my beads. As long as you've taken a step forward, that's a step. And at that 2-week mark, what I do is I take everyone's name who has posted a picture of their progress and put them in a spreadsheet and give them all numbers in the order they came in on. And you only get 1 entry, regardless of how many pictures, and you can post as many pictures as you want, but you get 1 entry per 2-week chunk of time. And then I use an online random number generator, and the person whose name it brings up gets to pick out one of my independent patterns, and I'll gift it to them through Ravelry. So it's an incentive to make weekly progress, or at least bi-weekly progress, to keep you going, because sometimes that prize 3 months down the road is kind of tough to keep your eye on. But having little tiny, I call them mile markers, is I think it can be encouraging. And even if you don't win the big prize at the end, you might have gotten a pattern along the way. And honestly, as I said, getting the project finished is really your prize and everything else is just gravy. And I mean, this is a big shawl, and getting it done was an accomplishment. And to all of you in my group who finished the shawl, I am so proud of you guys. I cannot see straight. And that brings us to the final bit of this video, which I wanted to go ahead and announce the prize winners from my knit along that we just wrapped up. But as I said, I am so proud of every single one of you for all the work you did. And even if you didn't finish, I saw the work you did and I know you're going to be there. And I'm not going to delete that thread. I will still be in the thread, and you can come in and ask questions, and I will cheer you along until your piece is done, as long as you want me to. I mean, I'm not going to like hunt you down, but I will be there as long as you want to be there. So I've already done the random number generator, and I wanted to say, first off, I took the names of the people who did not finish, and I drew one of them to get a, I guess it's not a consolation prize because it's a great prize, but so I got this. This is a needle and notions tube, which has a little slit in the end. So when your work's in progress, you put the needles in here and it keeps your needles from popping out of your work. And I thought that this gift would best go to the people who are still working on the project. So the needle and notions tube goes to the Raveler named Rexray Cat. Now, I want to let you know, every time I read your name in my group, I think of your name, Scooby-Doo talk. I'm like, Rexray Cat. So there you go. It's Scooby-Doo saying it in my head. So Rexray Cat, I will be contacting you and getting your mailing address so I can send you this needle and notions tube. And this is from Big and Bitty Bags. Now, next we're going to go, I got this on my trip to North Carolina, and I got this beautiful shawl pin. And now that you've finished a shawl, you will definitely need a shawl pin. I went with something elegant because we don't want it to clash with the beads, because these shawls have a lot of punch. So the winner of the shawl pin is Glisse, Raveler name Glisse. I don't know if I pronounced it, but I've been saying it in my brain, Glisse. Congratulations. I'm going to send you this shawl pin when I get your address. And then for one of the next prizes I have is a hard copy of my pattern, Curiosity. Curiosity is a really cool scarf. And I thought after all the beads, maybe somebody might be wanting to do something that's a little less intensive. So this is just stockinette and garter, but it makes a really cool little scarf. And it takes one skein of sport weight yarn, and I decided to include the yarn. And I had this skein, and this is old school. This is the Sanguine Griffin, and it's purple soldier fly. Isn't it gorgeous? And this is going to OCD Knit Case. Congratulations. I hope you like this and knit it up. I mean, you don't have to use this yarn to knit this pattern, but I thought I'd send a set. And then I have one more set. So considering we were doing beads, I thought giving someone Caladan would be a lot of fun. This is a crescent-shaped shawl that has the beads in it, and it goes in one skein of fingering weight, and it was designed in Malabrigo sock, and I just so happen to have this beautiful skein of Malabrigo sock in Lotus, which I just adore. So the pattern and the yarn. And I want to show you the shawl. This is in Aguas, but again, it's in Malabrigo sock. And this one goes to, and this is not something I can even pronounce because it's just a series of letters, LRM0930. So congratulations. I will contact all of you guys and get your mailing addresses so I can send off these prizes. Now, one thing that I didn't need a mailing address for, and I'm going to give away, and this is just something I like to do. I took everyone, the remaining people who didn't win a progress prize or one of the final prizes, I put all your names in the list, and I drew one, and that was JHB Knits. So what I like to do is I call it a get one, give one. So since you didn't hit a mile marker prize, but you contributed to them all, what it is you get to pick a pattern of your choice from my independent catalog, but then you also get to pick a pattern of your choice for me to gift to someone. It can be anyone on Ravelry. It can be someone who was in the knit along. It can be a friend of yours that you might want to say, hey, look at Barbara Benson's patterns, or just a pattern of mine that you think someone you know, maybe in your knit group, might really like. So again, I will be contacting all of these people on Ravelry. And again, I want to thank everyone so much for participating in the knit along. And I really want to encourage those of you out there that didn't participate to look into knit alongs of your own. See if your local group wants to start one. If anybody's interested in starting one here on Watch Barbara Knit, we can figure that out. Maybe the mosaic lace one might do something, but knit alongs are so much fun, and it's a wonderful way to build community and actually get stuff done. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button, and if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.